None of us likes to see other people suffering, and there's an inner wisdom within us that knows that there's another way of being where we can see the suffering, but be in a compassionate space to allow for it to exist. And there's a sweet spot. There's a sweet spot in life where we're not 100% in the relative world, where 50% out, 50% in. So we're in a bigger space outside of our bodies while simultaneously in our bodies, which may temporarily be suffering. But in order to survive the daily grind of having a human body and a human experience, one has to understand a place where the body doesn't exist, at least the physical body, where a subtle body exists, a timeless body exists. And that's where we ground ourselves. And that's where our awareness exists. That's where our higher self is. And that will give us the courage and the wisdom and the compassion and the patience and the non judgment and all of that good stuff so that we can have an embodied experience and not take our life or implode or get so dysregulated that we can't cope. And some people are going to get dysregulated when they take a body. And for those of us that can stay grounded, we offer those people that are dysregulated in this moment in time space. Space to be dysregulated, space to let their anger move through them, let the personality get as disordered as needs to be. As the stress exits, it can cause some disorder in the personality. And while some of us are getting dysregulated and some of us are holding space for those that are dysregulated, knowing that even though in this moment in time it seems like somebody else is suffering, that person that we perceive as outside of ourselves is also within us at a subtle level and dissolving something that we're not dissolving. So we've been given a little break. We've been given the ability to hold space while something we perceive as outside of ourselves is having a cathartic experience and dissolving something that we haven't got the capacity to do in that moment in time. So we thank the people that are getting dysregulated as the stress exits because they're dissolving collective stress and they're dissolving pain within us at a subtle level. And so we give thanks to the people who are disordered. They're disordered for a reason. They're disordered because they're de-stressing. They're removing stress from the collective. They're removing stress from within us at a subtle level. And we have a duty to hold space for them. In one level, we're holding space for ourselves. Even if we don't know it at a deep level, just know it intellectually. Just roll with it, because if you roll with it and you see people in the kingdom that are suffering, and even though you don't have a direct experience right now of them as yourself, and that's fine, just roll with it and say, well, I don't have a direct experience of that right now, but I'm just going to experiment with that way of being and thinking. And if you do that, you will notice that you feel calmer and you feel more connected to everything in your environment. You're able to be more patient or non judgmental. More able to spontaneously be compassionate and come up with creative solutions around how to help. You're less blocked, you're more creative. So I really want to encourage people. And sometimes we contemplate, why is there suffering in the world? Well, suffering exists when we come into a place where there's duality, where there's light and dark, happiness and sadness, where there's a human experience. We can't have a human experience without contrast. So let's not ask, why is there suffering? We know there's suffering. When we come into our body, we know there's going to be contrast. We signed up to it. So let's not ask, why is there suffering? Let's ask, how can we be with that suffering? How can we best help people who are suffering? How can we move into a unified state so we can be in two places at the same time? And so I am going to pray that we have the capacity to hold space for those that are suffering, knowing that they are us on a subtle level. Jai Gurudev.